Luna had always believed in the quiet strength of destiny. From the moment she was born under the silver glow of the crescent moon, everyone in the Crescent Pack whispered that she was special. She was born with a gentle heart, sharp instincts, and a wolf spirit that shimmered like moonlight. Yet, unlike her younger sister Clara, who was vivacious and loud, Luna preferred to watch the world carefully, learning, listening, and protecting those she loved. For years, her life had been entwined with Ethan, the beta of the Crescent Pack. From childhood, they trained together, explored the forest under the full moon, and shared the dreams of one day leading the pack together. In her heart, Luna had silently promised herself to him. She imagined the moment the pack would gather to declare their future mates during the choosing ceremony, a tradition held once every 7 years when the lunar alignment called for clarity and bonds. She pictured standing by Ethan's side, holding his hand and letting the world witness their destined love. The day of the choosing ceremony arrived with all its grandeur. The moon rose high and round, bathing the pack's clearing in silver light. Wolves of all ranks gathered, their eyes glowing with anticipation. Luna's heart beat faster with every step. She wore a silver dress embroidered with tiny moonstones, reflecting the light like stars scattered across the night sky. Her hair was carefully braided and the scent of the forest clung to her skin. She saw Ethan waiting near the center of the clearing, looking sharp in his ceremonial armor. For a moment their eyes met, and a small smile tugged at her lips. This was the moment she had dreamed about for years. But dreams have a way of shattering. Ethan stepped forward and cleared his throat. His amber eyes were unusually bright under the moonlight. But instead of smiling at Luna, he turned to the crowd and said, "I have chosen my mate, and it is not Luna." Luna froze. The world seemed to tilt and spin around her. Her wolf whimpered inside her chest. Instead, he continued, "I choose Clara." A gasp swept through the crowd. Whispers echoed through the clearing like the wind through the trees. Luna's stomach twisted, her legs felt like lead, yet she forced herself to stand tall. She could hear her sister Clara's soft gasp behind her, the pride and unease mixing in her eyes. Luna's heart felt as if it had been pulled from her chest, and the pack's gazes felt like daggers pressing into her skin. She wanted to scream, to run, to confront Ethan, but she didn't. Instead, she bowed her head slightly, letting her silver hair fall over her face, hiding the sting in her eyes. She turned silently and walked away from the clearing, ignoring the shocked murmurs of the pack. Her wolf's grief was louder than any voice, but Luna kept her silence. The forest embraced her as she walked, the trees whispering in the wind like old friends comforting her. She wandered past familiar streams and meadows, the moon guiding her steps. Every heartbeat reminded her of what she had lost, yet something deep inside refused to break. She was Luna of the Crescent Pack. She had endured betrayal before, and she would endure this. Hours passed. The cold of the night bit at her skin, but her resolve was stronger. She finally reached the edge of the pack's territory, where the trees thinned and the silver moon shone fully on the open land. That's when she sensed it. A presence unlike anything she had ever felt. A ripple of power moved through the air. The scent of dominance, authority, and strength filled her senses. She froze, instinctively crouching low, ready to defend herself. From the shadows of the forest, figures emerged. Wolves, larger than most she had ever seen, with golden eyes and black fur, stepped forward in perfect formation. At their center, mounted on a magnificent silver-black steed, was a man. He radiated power in a way that made her wolf kneel in respect. His armor shimmered in the moonlight, unlike anything she had ever seen. His eyes were amber, sharp, commanding, and yet there was a curiosity in them as they fixed on her. He was Alpha King Aldrich, ruler of all surrounding territories, a name spoken with reverence and fear in every pack. "You," he said, his voice deep and steady, carrying over the soft rustle of leaves, "stand alone at the edge of danger. Who has dared to treat you as unworthy?" Luna hesitated. She wanted to shrink away, to explain her pain, but words failed her. How could she tell a king about betrayal so sharp it still cut through her heart? Aldrich dismounted, each step deliberate and commanding. He stopped a few feet from her and studied her carefully. Luna could feel the intensity of his gaze, and for the first time since the choosing ceremony, she felt the stirrings of strength instead of despair. "Do not lower your head to anyone," Aldrich said. "From this moment you are under my protection. No one shall claim you, reject you, or harm you again. Do you understand?" Luna's heart raced. Protection from the Alpha King himself was unimaginable. Her wolf growled softly, sensing the weight of this declaration. She nodded quietly, unable to speak. "Good," he said, a rare softness in his tone yet still filled with command. "You will come with me. The night is long and you have much to learn." Before she could protest, he gestured to his guards. The wolves parted, forming a path through the forest. Luna followed silently, the pack she had known feeling smaller, distant and insignificant compared to the power she now walked beside. They rode through the forest for what seemed like hours. Luna's mind raced. Who was this king? Why had he chosen her? And what did it mean to be under the protection of such a powerful leader? She dared not speak, only observing the forest passing by, her heart slowly steadying from the raw wound of betrayal. Finally, they reached the royal palace, a structure unlike anything Luna had ever seen. Towers rose like mountains, shining silver in the moonlight. The gates were guarded by the king's elite, and the air itself seemed to hum with magic, power, and ancient strength. Luna's eyes widened in awe and slight fear. Inside, Aldrich led her to a chamber overlooking the valley. The view was breathtaking, the moonlight spilling over forests, rivers, and distant mountains. "This is your new beginning," he said, placing a hand lightly on her shoulder. "Here you will learn, grow, and find the strength they could never see in you. You will be no one's second choice." Luna felt tears prick her eyes, not of sorrow this time, but of something closer to hope. She had been rejected, humiliated, and betrayed, yet somehow, the universe had placed her exactly where she needed to be. "Your wolf is strong," Aldrich continued, noticing the silver shimmer along her ears and tail. "You may not see it, but I do. You will learn to trust your instincts, to command your power, and to stand tall even when the world tries to bend you. That is why I have claimed you." Claimed. The word echoed in her mind. It was not forceful. It was not cruel. It was a promise of respect, recognition, and protection. For the first time in hours, Luna's heart felt light, her wolf calm yet alert. As the night deepened, Aldrich left her to rest, giving her space to think, to dream, to breathe. Luna lay on a soft bed of moonlight and shadow, staring out at the forest she had walked away from. Ethan and the Crescent Pack felt distant now, like a past life she was leaving behind. The pain of rejection lingered, but beneath it, a spark had been lit, a spark of destiny far greater than she had ever imagined. She whispered softly to herself, her voice barely carrying over the night air. "If they could not see my worth, someone else would." And somewhere in the shadows, Aldrich's eyes watched her, silent, powerful, approving. He knew that in Luna, the Crescent Pack had lost more than just a she-wolf. They had lost a force that would one day shine brighter than even the Alpha King himself. The night was long, full of quiet whispers and the soft rustle of wind through the trees. Yet Luna slept peacefully, knowing that for the first time she was not alone. The future awaited, wild, unknown, and entirely hers. The morning sun poured through the tall windows of the royal palace, bathing the room in golden light. Luna woke slowly, her mind still replaying the events of the previous night. She had been rejected, humiliated, and heartbroken, only to be claimed by a power she could hardly comprehend. And yet, for the first time in her life, she felt safe. She stretched, letting her wolf stretch alongside her, sensing the strength within her that had been lying dormant all these years. King Aldrich had been patient with her. He did not rush her. He did not force her to understand what it meant to be claimed. Instead, he guided her, quietly observing, correcting, and teaching. Under his watchful eyes, Luna learned to control her instincts, to channel the energy of her wolf without fear. She practiced every morning, running through the palace grounds, jumping and testing herself. Every movement made her stronger, every breath more certain. "You have the strength of the full moon within you," Aldrich told her one morning, as she returned from her training. "You only need to trust it," Luna nodded. "I want to," she said softly. I don't know how to believe in myself." "Belief comes from action," he replied. "Show yourself that you are capable. The rest will follow." Days passed, and Luna's confidence grew. She discovered that her wolf was more than a companion. It was a guide, a protector, and a reflection of her own courage. And Aldrich was always there, a silent presence nearby, never demanding but always watching. It was not long before she realized that his claim was not about control or ownership. It was about respect, about recognizing the fire within her that the Crescent Pack had failed to see. Then came the day the council of all packs gathered. Luna's former pack, the Crescent Pack, was among them, and Luna knew Ethan and Clara would be there. She felt a flutter of nerves, but reminded herself of her own strength. She was no longer the quiet, hesitant she-wolf who had been rejected. She had grown, and she would stand tall. The council hall was enormous, filled with the strongest wolves from all territories. When Luna entered, the murmurs started immediately. The Crescent Pack's members looked at her in surprise. Ethan's eyes widened, and Clara shifted uneasily, sensing that something had changed. Aldrich stepped beside Luna, his presence commanding silence. "Everyone," he said, his voice echoing through the hall, "I present Luna, my chosen mate and the future queen of all territories under my protection." The hall gasped. Heads turned toward Luna, and for a moment she froze. But then she saw Aldrich's calm gaze, the steady confidence in his eyes, and she drew in a deep breath. She stepped forward, her posture straight, her silver eyes glinting with quiet power. Ethan's face went pale. He realized the truth that everyone else would soon understand. Luna was no longer the girl he had rejected. She was strong, radiant, and untouchable. Clara lowered her eyes, guilt filling her expression, understanding that Luna's worth had never been in doubt. Aldrich placed a silver crest around Luna's neck, the symbol of his claim and the protection of the Alpha King. "The moon witnesses this bond," he said. "It is not born of rank, jealousy, or favoritism. It is born of strength, courage, and destiny." Luna felt the weight of the crest settle against her chest. It was more than a symbol. It was a promise. She straightened her shoulders and faced the assembly. "I will not seek revenge," she said clearly, her voice carrying through the hall. "But I will no longer allow anyone to define my worth. I am Luna of the Crescent Pack, and now under the protection of the Alpha King. I am strong, and I will lead with honor." Whispers spread through the hall. Wolves who had once doubted her now looked with respect. Aldrich's eyes softened slightly as he saw Luna take her place beside him. She had embraced her own power and her own destiny, and that was the true mark of a queen. After the council, Luna and Aldrich returned to the palace. They walked through the gardens, the soft scent of flowers and the warm sunlight soothing the tension in her shoulders. "You handled yourself well," Aldrich said. "You did not need to strike, shout, or prove yourself with anger. You showed your strength through presence." Luna smiled faintly. It felt strange, to be proud without needing to fight. "That is true power," he replied. "It does not seek conflict. It creates respect." Days turned into weeks, and Luna's relationship with Aldrich deepened. He taught her about diplomacy, strategy, and the responsibilities of a future queen. He challenged her, yes, but he also supported her, letting her make mistakes and learn from them. Under his guidance, Luna transformed into a leader, confident in herself and her place in the world. Yet there were moments when Luna felt the sting of the past. Seeing Ethan and Clara occasionally reminded her of the betrayal, of the pain she had endured, but she refused to dwell on it. She focused on growth, on learning, and on the bond she shared with Aldrich. And slowly she realized that her heart was no longer weighed down by the past. It was free to love, to trust, and to grow. One evening, under a silver full moon, Aldrich called her to the palace balcony. The wind rustled their hair as they gazed out over the forest. "Luna," he said softly, "you have come far. You have endured rejection, humiliation, and heartbreak. Yet you stand here, stronger than most wolves I have ever known. That is why I chose you." Luna's heart fluttered. She had never felt so seen, so recognized, so valued. "Thank you," she whispered. "I never imagined that being rejected could lead to this." Aldrich smiled, the amber glow of his eyes warm and steady. "Sometimes the universe removes what we think we want, to give us what we truly need. You were never meant to be a beta's mate. You were meant to be mine, not as a prize, but as an equal." Luna reached out, her hand brushing against his. The touch was gentle, yet it carried the strength of the bond they now shared. She felt the pulse of his wolf within her, the promise of protection and partnership. "I trust you," she said simply. "And I trust you," he replied, his voice steady. "Together we will face any challenge. Together we will lead with honor. Together we are stronger than any force in this world." In that moment, Luna realized that the pain of the choosing ceremony was not the end, but the beginning. The rejection had pushed her into the arms of someone who recognized her true worth. She had found not just protection, but partnership, respect, and a chance to shine in her own light. The days that followed were filled with training, learning, and shared moments of quiet connection. Luna discovered that leadership was not about strength alone, but about compassion, wisdom, and courage. And with Aldrich by her side, she was unstoppable. When the Crescent Pack finally visited the royal palace formally, Luna walked among them with her head held high. Ethan looked at her with regret, Clara with shame, and the rest of the pack with awe. Luna did not speak of the past, nor did she show bitterness. Her presence alone spoke volumes. She had endured, she had grown, and she had claimed her place. Aldrich stood beside her, his hand lightly touching hers, a silent reminder of the bond they shared. Together, they were a force beyond measure. The Crescent Pack realized that the girl they had underestimated was now a queen, not only in title but in spirit. And Luna finally understood what the Alpha King had seen in her all along. Not just a wolf to protect, but a wolf who could stand as an equal, who could rise from rejection to greatness, who could embrace her destiny fully and fearlessly. That night, under the light of the full moon, Luna whispered to herself, not with sorrow, but with pride, "I am Luna. I am strong. I am worthy." And beside her, Aldrich smiled, knowing that in claiming her, he had not just found a mate, he had found a partner, a queen, and the strongest wolf he had ever known. The moon shone down on them, silver and eternal, witnessing a bond forged through adversity, respect, and destiny. Luna's journey from rejection to triumph had ended, and a new chapter, full of strength, love, and hope, had begun.